Okay, so we have another DC Multiverse unboxing for today, and this is Superman versus Superman of Earth-3, Ultraman. I'm guessing there was some trademark reason they couldn't just call the character Ultraman, probably having to do with the Japanese superhero also named Ultraman. So apparently the one from the James Gunn Superman movie is still going to be called Ultraman when those action figures come out. So it's nice that they cleared up the trademark for a character that's not even really Ultraman. So yeah, here's some artwork on the back. I forget who this artist is, and I feel bad about that because I actually do like his artwork. He was one who was working on Superman during those post Rebirth comics, which was one of the best times for Superman. And then over here, this to me looks like uh, what's that guy's name? Drawing a blank on his name too. Anyway, he's a good artist also, but that looks like it's from the Forever Evil storyline. But this is not the Forever Evil version of Ultraman. This is the Earth 2 graphic novel by Grant Morrison and Frank Quitely, and I think Frank Quitely designed this particular costume, but I believe it was Grant Morrison who actually designed Ultraman's emblem, which I really like. We'll talk about that in a minute. Anyway, let's go ahead and open it up. It does have an 85th anniversary Superman logo on there. So I got this one like not long after I got Owlman, and it's a funny thing because I got Owlman, and then I thought to myself, well, I probably should go ahead and buy that Ultraman figure that they had at Target, and I went to look online to see if I could find just Ultraman by himself on like eBay, and I saw him on there, but like it wasn't really cheap enough for me to really want to bother with buying the one off of eBay. And I did see on Facebook where somebody had said that they'd found the 2-pack on clearance for $15. And I went and checked both of my local Targets, the closest ones, and didn't see them at either one. So I figured, well, I probably missed out on that. But then on a random trip to one of these Targets later on, I actually did find this one, and it was marked down to $9. So I got him for really, really cheap. I got this 2-pack for less than half the price than it would cost me to buy one of these figures on a single card. So that was cool. All right, so we got 2 figure stands, and there is a special figure stand in here, but this was back when they were still giving you the regular figure stands with special stands. And they're both the standard matte black stand with a glossy DC logo embossed onto it. We got the Earth-3 version of the Atom, which I forget what her name is, like Micron or something like that. It doesn't say on the package, but there she is. You get a little figurine of her, so that's nice. Gives us another member of the crime syndicate. And let's get this stand out of here, and it's got a rubber tab holding it in the package. And here's what the stand looks like. It's like a wrecked train track. It's way too narrow to be an actual train track if you look at the railroad ties there. But no, wait, it's not a train track. It's the Daily Planet logo. My mistake. Okay, so it's probably actually still even too small to be the Daily Planet logo, but it's nice that they put that kind of effort into it. Yeah, at first it looked to me like a train track, but no, it's actually the Daily Planet globe kind of smashed in. So maybe it's the one that's just out in front of the building and not the one that's on top of the building. If you watch the old Lois and Clark New Adventures of Superman show back in the 1990s, remember they had that Daily Planet globe that was in front of the building. And then of course in Superman the movie and in the Zack Snyder films, there's another Daily Planet globe inside the building. I don't believe there's one on the top of the building in the Zack Snyder films, unfortunately. So technically, there's not one on top of the building in Superman the movie. The only one we see is when the kid's reading the comic book at the beginning. So Superman Returns has one on top of the building. Anyway, let's go ahead and get these extra hands out of here, and then we can talk about those real quick. So last episode was Owlman, and this episode we're doing Ultraman. And next episode is going to be Power Ring. And I do know that Mcfarlane has done a Superwoman figure, but I don't have that one. Maybe I'll be able to get Superwoman one of these days, but I don't have her yet. So there are rubber tabs holding in Superman on each of his forearms, double rubber tabs around the waist. Of course, he's got rubber tabs around each of his shins that I'm having a hard time getting to. So let's just go ahead and I'll just tear through them. Ah, there. All right, so Superman is out of the package. And then we'll get on to Ultraman, and Ultraman's packed in there like really awkwardly. his arms are all bent up like this. Like he's got an itch on his shoulder he's trying to reach. So again, double rubber tabs around the torso. And this rubber tab is weird because it's literally around like the whole wrist, the whole arm. I don't even know how they do this. I don't know why they do this. The rubber tabs are dumb. I hate rubber tabs. Just stop doing them. And I've had figures recently that just didn't have rubber tabs around like the figure, or even some Mcfarlane figures where it just has rubber tab around the torso. That's not so bad. But we don't need all these rubber tabs. It's just wasteful. All right, so now we can get Ultraman out of the package. And man, this okay. So this forearm seems really loose now, and I think it's because of the way they had it bound in there. Because I think the rubber tab was actually pulling up on the articulation, and I think it actually managed to make it looser. You see how loose that is? That's ridiculously loose. So yeah, there's Ultraman out of the package. And let's have a look at him next to the regular Superman. And they do look to have some parts that are similar, but I don't think they actually share any parts. This is that Superman figure that skips leg day. So we've opened a very similar Superman to this before. Lone Dragon says no one likes rubbers. Yeah. So they do have some similar parts, but I don't think that they are identical parts. This might be the same torso, just with different emblems glued onto it, because it does look like the lines are kind of similar, if you can see that. And the abs are different because this one has some extra piping on the abs over here. And the legs are different. You can see they have different sculpts at the top of the boots. So I believe that if I remember correctly, Ultraman in that EARTH-3 graphic novel I was talking about, he did not have boots. He just kind of had like footy pajamas, that kind of thing going on. But this one actually does have boots, although they are blue boots that match the rest of his costume. But you can see that it's got like red trim there to denote that they are indeed boots. And also, I think that version of Ultraman had gloves that were likewise built into the suit. But other than that, it's pretty much obviously that suit. It's got the same sort of thing going on where it's got these little silver discs there in place of a belt, and most importantly, it does have the Grant Morrison style of Ultraman emblem, which I really like because it's like an upside down Superman emblem, and the way the U fits into the border, it kind of forms like a an arrow that's pointing up. So I kind of like that. Let's go ahead and set the action figures aside for a moment, and we will look at the trading cards, which have the same artwork that we saw on the back of the package. That's what the back of the trading cards look like. Let's read Superman's first. And it says, Superman, data file, real name, Kal-El, Clark Kent, adoptive name. Sent to Earth from the dying planet Krypton as a baby, Kal-El was found by farmers Jonathan and Martha Kent and raised as their son Clark. As Clark grew up, the radiation from Earth's yellow sun gave him extraordinary powers, which he kept hidden. Now, fully grown, he uses his powers to protect his adopted world as Superman, the Man of Steel. Superman. The Man of Steel is virtually invulnerable and has the powers of super strength, super speed, and flight. He also has enhanced senses, including heat vision, X-ray vision, super hearing, and super breaths. That's pretty standard. I'm pretty sure that's the same Superman bio we've read on these cards many times before. Let's move on to Ultraman, the Superman of Earth-3, and my goodness, that is a wall of text. So we're going to be here for a while. People say I talk too much in these videos. Well, they're going to get plenty of talking from me in this one, aren't they? All right. Superman of Earth-3, real name Kal-El, Clark Kent. But I don't think he actually is Kal-El. I don't believe he was adopted in the Earth-3 version. But let's read the bio and see what it has to say. Earth-3 is a world where power and brute force outmatch justice and compassion, seen in many other Earths across the DC multiverse. Ultraman of Earth-3, born Kal-El on planet Krypton, shares many similarities with Earth-Zero's Superman. He is also the last son of Krypton and was sent to an escape pod to Earth, where he grew up in Smallville with his adopted parents, Jonathan and Martha Kent. But the similarities end there. Using their son for their own gain, the Kents manipulated Kal-El and didn't allow him to leave the farm until one day when he finally discovered the truth of who he was and where he came from. When he broke free and left Smallville for good. Years later, he's now taken the name Ultraman and rules over Metropolis, dominating the sprawling city as a tyrant. And with the emergence of powerful beings like himself, he's formed the Crime Syndicate, a group of morally corrupt, power-hungry supervillains set on reforming the world to their liking. They are in every way the antithesis of the Justice League. So that might be how it is in the New 52 version. I wouldn't know. I haven't read any New 52 comics with the Crime Syndicate, but the version that I'm familiar with would be the Silver Age version and the Grant Morrison version, which was based off of that one. And in that one, he's actually Clark Kent was actually an Earthman, and he was an astronaut who was rebuilt by aliens to be superhuman. And he actually gains his powers from exposure to kryptonite. And in fact, in his secret identity as Clark Kent, Ultraman does not wear glasses like Superman does when he's Clark Kent. He has a little mustache, which I thought was funny. And also, what I thought was funny is that Ultraman is married to Superwoman in the Earth-2 graphic novel. And while his occupation is now astronaut rather than reporter, Superwoman's real identity is Lois Lane. So unlike the original version of Wonder Woman, where Steve Trevor was in the Army Air Corps, later the Air Force. So you got a Clark Kent that's an astronaut, and Lois Lane is Wonder Woman, Superwoman, who's a reporter. So they kind of switched occupations. I think that's funny. So anyway, let's go ahead and look at the hands that came with these figures, and we can see that he has kind of a gesturing hand for the left hand and a solid fist on the right hand, and Superman has two solid fists, and the hands that come with the figures are another gesturing hand for the right hand, uh, two of these saluti flying hands, one pointing hand, one solid fist for the left hand, and one kind of gesturing hand for the left hand. These hands can be used for either one of these characters. They both have pretty much the same flesh color. Somewhere around here, I'm pretty sure, yeah, here he is, right here. I do have the previous Rebirth Superman figure, so we can compare the two of those. And it's basically the same head, the same sculpt, except for the heads. So the heads are different head sculpt. We're going to talk about this head in a minute, trust me. And you can see that the colors are slightly different. This is like a little slightly lighter, slightly more on the purplish side of blue. And you can see that one improvement that's made to this is that they gave him red boots instead of the blue boots that Rebirth Superman has. I don't really have a problem with having blue boots because, like I said, this version of Superman did indeed have blue boots, but I don't like the way they did the trim on the boots. I was very critical of that when I opened up this figure in the first place. So I'm happy to just have red boots. I think that looks a lot better than having the red trim that's not even painted where the trim is on the sculpted onto the figure. It doesn't make any sense. Now, the problem with this Superman figure, the elephant in the room, is, man, that's a weird looking head sculpt. Like, a lot of people have been really critical of this head sculpt, and it's nice they tried to give us a happy smiling Superman. That's nice. I'm not criticizing that, but there's something just kind of cartoonish about the way this head turns out, and really what it reminds me more of anything else is Metro Man. Remember the Superman parody character from Megamind? Yeah, he looks to me like Metro Man. So I think that's pretty funny. So yeah, we're not going to talk too much about the articulation on this guy because I've been over this body several times, and we're about to talk about the articulation on Ultraman, and it's going to be pretty much the same. So but yeah, it does come with a Superman figure, but Superman is not the reason I bought this set. Superman is not the rock star of this set. It's got to be Ultraman. So look how long his cape is. This is probably one of the longest capes I've seen on any Superman figure thus far. And yeah, I know technically it's not Superman, but you know what I mean. He's a counterpart to Superman. And his head sculpt is also kind of cartoonish, but I think it works a lot better on Ultraman. You can see they've got the eyes painted to look like he's using his heat vision, and I think they did an excellent job with that. The way they've got the lighting effect on there, it looks very realistic. He's got very windswept hair. You can see lots of little tousled bits of hair peeking up there, and a very exaggerated, very pouty expression. To me, this is one of those head sculpts that I see and I look at it and I think to myself that this almost looks like Todd McFarlane himself drew this image, like that he would have come in while they were designing this figure and sketched it up real quick and been like, hey, make his face look like this kind of thing. And like I said, it looks like some of these parts are pretty similar, if not the exact same parts as the Superman figure in this set. The arms look almost the same, and I think that they are the same, except for the biceps are slightly different, which is weird because I don't see any reason the biceps need to be different, but the forearms look like they're the same sculpts. But the pin size in the arms, in where the pins go in, you see how it's like a slightly different size. Like the ones on Superman are slightly larger. So I'm not sure why that is. I'm not sure why you would bother to make such a similar piece that's pretty much the same. Anyway, let's go ahead and discuss the articulation. So Ultraman can look up about that far. He can look down about that far. He can tilt his head kind of exclusively from side to side, rotate the head all the way around. Of course, the arms rotate all the way around the shoulders. They've got that Mcfarlane butterfly joint on there, so they can move. We got some wiggle back and forth, up and down, all that kind of stuff. His arms can raise up to the sides about that far. He's got a bicep swivel, which seems really stuck on this guy, but it does rotate all the way around. I got it moved. And again, really loose joints on the forearms on this guy for some reason, but he does have double jointed elbows. That's about the range of motion we're going to get on the elbows. And then, of course, the wrists, those great Mcfarlane wrist articulation. So it rotates all the way around where the wrist meets the forearm and where the forearm meets the hand. And you can move that around any which way you want to. You know, I love the Mcfarlane wrist articulation. He's got the typical Mcfarlane torso articulation where he rotates all the way around where the rib cage meets the abs and where the abs meet the hips, waist, whatever you want to call that. And it can move around any which way you want to as far as that goes. So that's cool. Ultraman can kick up about that far. He's got double jointed knees. That's about the range of motion you get at the knees. No boot cut on this guy, but it doesn't really matter because he's got that great Mcfarlane ankle articulation. So it rotates all the way around where the ankle meets the shin, rotates all the way around where the ankle meets the foot. Foot can point up about that far. Foot can point down about that far. And then he's got toe articulation just to show off. So anyway, really cool figure. I'm glad that they went with the Grant Morrison, Frank Quitely design. I think that's my personal favorite design for Ultraman. If we look at the new 52 version on the back, they actually didn't do too bad a job with the new 52 design, but it's not as good as Morrison and Quitely's version, I don't think. So I'm really glad to have this guy to be my version of Ultraman for these figures. This was a pretty short video, considering how it's a 2-pack. But I didn't really have a whole lot to say about the Superman figure. We've already been over this body type of Superman several times. And I will say, I like the colors. I think the colors look good. But again, man, that head sculpt is just like... I had seen where somebody took this head sculpt and heated it up and was able to like kind of smush it in at the sides here. And then it actually looked a lot better. So if you've got this one at home, this might be something you want to try on this. But the neck is like really thick. And apparently that kind of widened out the face. It probably looks better on another figure. So you might want to try that at home. That might be something that might work well for you. Who knows? Anyway, that's it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure that you like and subscribe and all the fun YouTube stuff down below. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think about these figures and the characters in general. You know, everybody loves Superman. He's like the greatest superhero of all time. But what do you think of Ultraman? And you know, there's been lots of evil versions of Superman over the years. But if you think about it, this guy was really like the OG. Like, you know, you had Bizarro, but Bizarro's not really evil. And, you know, we've had lots since then. We've had, you know, the Universe of Evil on Super Friends. We've had Injustice. We've had the Justice Lords version of Superman. We had the evil version of Henry Cavill Superman that showed up in Batman vs Superman and Zack Snyder's Justice League, and hopefully we'll get that story expanded on at some point. But yeah, he's the original evil Superman. Bobby Wald says, "Is Ultraman suffering from pink eye?" Well, he's not the one suffering from it. It'd be whoever's on the receiving end. But yeah, that's it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. We will talk to you next time. I will be back with Power Ring, so that will be the third in our 3 Crime Syndicate figures that I managed to get. So, and then I think I'm probably going to move on to the Super Friends figures that I got. Uh, Actually, probably what's going to be my plan is if it actually shows up from Amazon on time, I'm probably going to uh, let's see, today's Thursday, right? Today is Thursday, right? Yeah. So Friday, I'll be opening up Power Ring. Saturday, I'll probably go ahead and open up the Filmation Riddler, the Pink Riddler, the new Adventures of Batman Riddler, because hopefully I should have that from Amazon by then. And that'll segue into Super Friends. I'll do Super Friends next week. So that's it for this one. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll talk to you next time. Bye.